Hello everyone, it's Ben here. I'm back with another YouTube video. It's been a really long time since I've uploaded one. My last YouTube video was my Kansas City Royals franchise, which bombed very bad. I just got really bored of it. I missed like a week of uploading because I was on vacation, and then I just forgot about it. And when I all of a sudden started to do it again, I realized it was way too late to just start again. But we are gonna do the Minnesota Wild in NHL 20. I've added 20 prospects to this. All the college guys like Alex Turcotte, Cole Caulfield, all the guys from the last year's draft, a bunch of Russian guys, some fake prospects for the draft just to spice things up. For the Wild, for example, they've got their top prospects, Kirill Kaprizov and Matthew Boldy. Kirill Kaprizov obviously scored the game-winning goal in the 2018 Olympics to give Russia a gold medal. He's going to be a huge piece of this franchise. He's got elite potential, I know that. And Matthew Boldy also does. But he's a lower ranked because he's really struggled with Boston College this year. So let's just jump right into it, because obviously this team, it's famous for two things right now. Their really big decline and two absolutely massive contracts that last 6 more years from these two players. Sorry, that's my dog in the background. Ryan Suter. This is a contract I can deal with because I could easily move him. He still carries a bunch of value and is still like a phenomenal player. He's got a great overall. We could definitely still move him. This guy, on the other hand, Zach Parise, never should have even gotten that contract. He was pretty good with New Jersey. He had some really good years, but was never truly deserving of a massive contract like that. And he's going to be hard to move because he carries very little trade value. Looking at other big contracts, Matt Dumba, we got to keep him. He's a huge part. If we want to go anywhere with this team, he's got to stay. Matt Zuccarello, I didn't really understand this deal. The team's kind of going into a rebuild, but they're trying to win with all these vets, and it's not working. Someone being from Minnesota, I've never been a huge Wild fan, but I've always paid attention. I always know what's going on with the team. Not a deal I thought was good for them. Mikko Koivu, he's got 1 year left after this season. But I would like to get value out of him because I know I'm not going to end up re-signing him. Zucker, he's a different cause because I know he can still contribute, and I know his overall will go up. Even though it says exact, I know it does kind of go up. So I think we could hold on to him. We may end up moving him. Spurgeon, we got to move. Even though he produces very well, I feel like we definitely do need to move him because he's got a massive deal. Brodin never produces in these. He usually puts up like 15 points and a -5. So I'd really like to get rid of him. Pretty much this whole team. Stahl's a player that I want to trade now, mainly because of the fact that his overall is going to go down, and so will his trade value. But he is still a good player, and he's not exactly super expensive. Kevin Fiala, a guy that's definitely going to be a top 2-line player for us. I really do like him. He jumps up to around an 87 overall, and is like a 60, 70 point a year guy. Marcus Foligno, awful contract, not a contributor. Same with Greg Pater, and this guy's just not a good player. He is an average defenseman. I mean, -11 last year in 80 games and 7 points. Nothing we can really do with that. Ryan Donato, he usually develops into a mid to high 80s. Pretty good player there for us. He'll be a probably 2-3 line center for us. Ryan Hartman could definitely be a 3 or 4 line winger. He is still 24 and does get to be in low 80s. Eriksson Ek, I've seen him become an 86, 87 overall. I want to move him to wing, though, because he's not very good at face-offs, and I just feel like that'd be best. Luke Kunin, definitely a piece we should hold on to because I know he does develop into a pretty good player. Same with Jordan Greenway. Kirill Kaprizov, this is what I was talking about. Yes, he's 22, which is obviously a bit old. He was drafted in 2015. But he does have a medium elite potential, which I know a lot of you may think is high, but his growth is already really stunted because he's 22 and an 82 overall, which isn't very high. But he's going to probably get to be a high 80s, 90s player. So he's going to be huge for us. Carson Soucy and Nick Seeler. Nick Seeler, hometown guy, Eden Prairie, Minnesota. Neither of them will be much for us. Same with Brad Hunt. I'm going to let him ride out this year because he's good for the value he's at. Let's jump down to the AHL club. Victor Rask. Oh, God. If you're a Minnesota fan, you hate this guy because he's awful. He put up less than 10 points in almost 50 games last year. His best years are already behind him at 26. He was always a decent contributor, never worth the massive deal he got with Carolina, and definitely not worth trading Nino Niederreiter for, who will probably have a couple 50-point seasons in this franchise with Carolina. These two guys I'm not really worried about. They're probably career AHLers. By the way, I do want to say salary cap is on, but I turned Fog of War off and player morale because that's just really inconvenient. Also injuries. It doesn't really help anyone. It slows down the sim, so we just turn those off. Alex Kovanov, he develops into a pretty solid player. Duar and Bitten, they're not huge, but they could be bottom line forwards. Mason Shaw, it takes him a while, but he does end up being a fairly decent 84, 85 overall player. So, yeah, I could definitely see those guys having big potentials here. Matthew Boldy, the kid that they just picked 12th overall this past summer. He's at Boston College right now. He's only got 1 goal in 11 games, but he is supposed to be a really good player. And he was supposedly one of the steals of the draft at that spot. So I really do want to see what he does. The rest of these guys, I don't think... Oh, Louis Belpido. I really don't know. I don't know how he pans out, but I know he's got top 4 potential, so we will see. But he's already 23 years old. And I don't really know how it's going to work out with him. Philip Johansson, this is disappointing. He was a first-round pick just a year ago. He's only a top 6 potential, so we'll see how that works out, but I don't really know. Sean Bedrias, he's all right. He turns out to be a mid to high 70s player. Same with Guskov and Giroux. So I'm not really wowed by this system. There's definitely the potential there with guys like Boldy, Kovanov, Sean Belpido to do well, but let's take a look at the draft class, because that's an interesting draft class. Alright, so I started a new clip, just took my dog's collar off so it wouldn't be as loud, but I'm super excited about this draft class. For starters, 3 of these players are fake, and I made them. They're all 81s to 82 overalls. They all have huge potential and will pretty much just be awesome players in the NHL, like award winners. But we're going to start with Lafreniere. He's probably the consensus number 1 pick. I bumped him up to an 83 just so he's more exciting out of the draft instead of being like the 75 where you have to wait a year for him to actually be a decent player. Kalle Moser, he's a 72 or like an 80-something overall sniper. He's going to be a stud. I think he could probably go number 1 too. Quentin Byfield, bumped him up to an 82. He's usually the consensus number 2 pick. But if he's not an 82, like right now in life, everyone thinks that it's going to go Lafreniere and then Byfield. But usually he goes like 5th overall in this just because of the fact that his overall is usually like a 72. Franz Elias, though. The German sensation. And Kalle Moser, his nickname. He's the Swiss Army knife. But Franz Elias, offensive defenseman, huge body, going to play for the Winnipeg Ice this year. Probably all these guys will probably tear up the OHL or the CHL. Because I know he's playing in the Q, he's in the WHL, and he's in, I think, the Ontario League. Yeah. And this is Lee Walker from Australia, 6'2", 208 pounds, definitely a power forward. He's a guy that gets into scraps, and he's also probably more of a sniper than a playmaker. He's the kind of guy you see putting up 40 points or 40 goals, 20 to 30 assists with 100-some penalty minutes a year. So it'll be interesting to see how these guys pan out. But one I'm really excited about, he's farther down the list. I bumped Connor Zary up to a top 6 because he's really lit up the WHL this year and was pretty good in the OHL showcase. So yeah, I felt like it was necessary. But this is a guy I'm really psyched about. He's the number 15 prospect, Yaroslav Askarov. He's actually a top 5 prospect in real life, the next great goalie. And really with this team, Devin Dubnyk's our goalie right now. He's older. He's gonna drop off really fast. We have no good goalies in the system. They're all fringe starters. I think we should probably acquire 2 first-round picks so we can get one of the top 5 guys and Askarov, because I feel like he would be awesome to have. He's already like a 78, 79 overall. But yeah, that's pretty much all the exciting players in the draft. It's all the normal guys and then them. But yeah, the top of the board looks awesome. It's gonna be really interesting to see how those guys pan out. We'll check in on them every year. But yeah, I usually pin probably about 40 players to scout, usually the top 40. And we're going to definitely send our scouts to Russia to scout Askarov because I feel like he's going to be awesome. And I know he's high elite potential too because I made him, so I know Connor McLennan's usually pretty good too here. He develops into a pretty solid player too. We're probably going to get into the sim next episode. We have no scouts in Russia. Okay, we're going to have to figure that out. That's really disappointing. And I assume we have none in Australia either. Oh, we actually do. All right. That's interesting that we have none in Russia, one of the hockey capitals of the world. But in Australia, a place where I think there was one NHL player from, has one. That's interesting to me. Yeah, but let's look at what our lineup would be probably before the trades. Well, our assistant captains are Parise and Suter right now, and our captain's Koivu. Ooh, this is a really good line, but they're +3. They'd play really well for us, but we need to part with these guys while their value's still high. We'll find other line mates for Kaprizov. And I want to get Fiala more minutes. I don't know why he's stuck down here on the 3 line. And Eriksson Ek doesn't even look to be in the lineup. He's not going to develop if we just let him ride the bench. So we got to throw him in there on the 4 line. I really like this connection. It's really good too in real life, even though usually it's Spurgeon up there. But the Suter's got to go. I really want to go find some trades. So when I find trades for these guys, or if I do make a move, I'll get right back to you. Alright, so I found this. The Kings have one of the deeper farm systems in this league, but we're not going to make a move for a prospect because, again, Parise carries little to no trade value, and I really just want to dump him. Alex Iafallo can get to be like an 83, 84 overall if you play him with the right players, and he's a decent player and will probably produce close to the amount Parise will. Actually, I'm not sure about that, but in real life, he probably will. We just want to see if this goes through, and it does. We're going to get to move Zach Parise here, which is huge for us. We're just going to hit best lines, look at him later. Huge move for us. Now we're $10 million below our cap. I'm really surprised by that. So the Kings gained a bunch of cap. I don't really know why because they're in a rebuild too. But we're going to get Iafallo. It might not have been exactly a great 1-for-1 trade. We're dumping a bunch of cap and getting a half-decent player with it. So we're going to try right now and find a trade partner for one of the other many players that are overpaid on this team. All right, so Vegas really wants to dump Cody Eakin and his salary. I want to dump Jonas Brodin and his salary, and I want a first-round pick out of it. So I think this trade may go through if I just add one more small piece, because I'll just take Eakin, who's got a year left on his deal, get him out of town, play him on like our 4th line, and grab a first-round pick too. And there we go. We got it done. We may have overpaid a bit, but I really wanted that first-round pick, and I really did need that. So we're going to try and find one more deal, and then hopefully like make our lineup. I want this to be a bit of a longer episode, kind of go over everything with this team, and then start simming next episode. I'm going to try and upload these 2 to 3 times a week. Alright, so I went out looking for a deal for Jared Spurgeon, who's on a 1-year deal. Likely probably wouldn't re-sign him right away this offseason. I just don't think he's going to pan out that well. He doesn't really score as much as he does in real life in this. And I went to Colorado. They got Ryan Graves, 24-year-old young D-man. Probably a bottom pairing guy. Could be a low 80s player. And then they've got Tyson Jost. And Jost, he's a stud. He pans out really well in this. Mid to high 80s. Really hope this one goes through. It will go through. So we're going to see if we can add one more piece to this maybe. Maybe grab a late draft pick. Let's look for a 5th. Yep, and we'll do that. We're going to keep Graves and Jost in the NHL. And we've got a bunch of cap left. I still want to move 2 more guys. Mikko, or at least 1 more guy. Zuccarello, Rosk, Koivu, or Stahl. So I might have just found something for Zuccarello if it goes through, of course. Martin Hanzal, he has been a wild player before. He played like half a season here a few years ago. He was all right, but he signed a really big deal with Dallas, and he hasn't lived up to the hype. He's got 1 year left. He's only a 77 overall. He's with Texas right now. But Denis Gurianov, I know he actually pans out really well and becomes a good player if, like, you know, you give him the chance to. he's one of those guys you can't let sit in the minors. He has to play in the NHL to get better. So we're going to see if this goes through, because it would work, and it does. So we move Zuccarello. Now let's set up the roster. I just want to point out really quick, I was unable to find a home for 4 of the guys I wanted to trade. Those guys being Victor Rusk, Ryan Suter, Eric Stahl, and Mikko Koivu. But Koivu's contract expires after this year, so these guys are all priority moves. So hopefully we can get some trade offers for those. I did a little hack that if you set the trade block to the exact same thing, surplus and wants, that you will get good trade offers instead of the junk that they usually send you. So hopefully that works and we can actually make some moves. Now for the roster. Alright, so in our first game of the season, these will be our lines. Kaprizov, the rookie, is going to be on the first line with Eric Stahl and Kevin Fiala for a +3. This line could be really nasty and produce a lot of points this year. Our 2 lines going to be Zucker, Koivu, and Guryanov. I want Guryanov to get playing time so he does develop into being a nasty little sniper for us, maybe a 30-goal player. Our 3 lines going to be Donato, Yost, and Hartman. I do want these guys to all get playing minutes. Same with the bottom line, but they're just not there yet over these guys. Kunin and Greenway are very crucial to this team's development. Iafallo is kind of just there. But I noticed something really cool on our defensive side. Obviously, Suter and Dumba are +3, but Brad Hunt and Ryan Graves are +5. I've never seen a tandem that high before, and they're going to be pretty sick. This bottom pairing is obviously going to get beaten a lot, but Hunt is going to be an 85 with that, and Graves will be an 83, and these guys will also be awesome with it too. And our goaltending, we're going to have Dubnyk and Stalik. We need to get new goalies ASAP because they're both old. And scratched, we're going to have Eakin and Foligno. Heading down to the AHL, our top line, I really do like to give the younger guys some playing time. So Eriksson, Ek, and Boldy are going to be on the first line with Martin Hansel, Rosk, McLeod, and JT Brown, Nico Sturm, Luke Johnson, and I think it's Brandon Duhame. Sam Anas, Gabriel Dumont, and Gerald Mayhew are the 4 line down there. Brennan Manel and Nick Seeler are +3. Louis Belpito, Carson Soucy are 0, but they'll be our 2 line. Keaton Thompson and Fedor Gordeev will be our 3 pairing down there. And in the net, Capo Kakinen and Matt Robson, both fringe starters. Robson was actually the starter at the University of Minnesota for a while. Here are all our scratches. None of these guys are really valuable enough to play. Oh, Mason Shaw. I didn't even realize he was scratched. He's a top 6 forward. So let's get him a spot immediately. Again, I like to focus more on development than wins at the AHL level. So we're going to get him on the first line. I know that might be kind of crazy, but now we're in a kind of a tough situation because I forgot about that. Alright, so yeah, that top line, hopefully they can put up some points, but they're more for development. I want Matthew Boldy in the NHL by probably next year. I think he can get to be like an 80 overall 3-line forward. So, yeah, let's sim. We're going to actually start by simming the preseason, and we'll start the regular season in the next episode. I just want to see our contracts really quick because of the fact that we have $15 million in cap space, so we've moved a lot of money. Yeah, it's gotten a lot better than it was before. I can actually stand the Zucker and the Dumba contracts and the Cody Eakin contract because that's a 1 year. We're probably going to buy out Marcus Foligno this offseason because he's scratched right now. He's not even playing. He's not good enough to be playing. If he was a defenseman, he would play, but he won't play on that forward unit. So I want to actually be inside of this next preseason game, so we're going to watch it sim. All right. Hopefully we can see some goals. We're going to sim it quick. Oh, Dallas has power play. Zuccarello's on Dallas now. I forgot about that. So we'll see how this goes. Julius Honka is going to score. And then Alex Iafallo is going to follow right back just less than a minute later. Interesting. Iafallo getting it done. Rupi Hintz. That was a player that if it wasn't for Guryanov, I definitely would have gone out and gotten Rupi Hintz. He had more trade value than Zuccarello did. Otherwise, I definitely would have. Jack Dowling scores there. I'm pretty sure that's his name. And what was that tone? Sorry, that was my dog. And let's start again. Oh, I just simmed a period. Whoops. Kaprizov scores twice, though, and so does Dubnyk. Alright, sorry for that. I'm going to have to cut that out. My bad. But let's sim this third period. Maybe we can come back in the first preseason game. And Stahl scores. Kaprizov, I really like the 2 goals I saw out of him. Rupi Hintz is probably going to win it right there, and he does. 5-4, the first preseason game of the year. The 3 stars on the night. Rupi Hintz obviously won him. Kaprizov had 3 points. Interesting to see. You know what? I don't think anyone really wants to see the whole preseason, so we're going to get back to next episode. We're going to sim around a month or 2 of the regular season and maybe make some more moves. Thank you guys so much for watching. Always remember, please like.